Hi guys, how are you? Just if somebody can tell me that you can see me and that you can hear me. It's the new moon of Aquarius, the new month of Aquarius. Hi, I see that already I see people. Hi guys, Chodesh Tov. Chodesh Tov basically means happy month. And you know what? Hi, Barbara. I want to tell you something because somebody asked me a question. Hi guys. I want to ask. Somebody asked me a question about new moon versus new month. Because you know the new moon, if you look astrologically, you're gonna know that the new moon yesterday was actually in Capricorn. The energy of the new moon was in Capricorn. So we differentiate. There is the new moon that is actually usually it will be the sign of the Hebrew month or the Kabbalistic or the lunar month, right? But it's not always the same. So it's really not a new moon event. It's more new month, the new month of Shvat, which is the month of Aquarius. Okay, so hi guys, I see everybody that is on. Chodesh Tov, as I said, happy month. So I want to start by explaining about the whole energy of Aquarius. Because if you know an Aquarius, they're the people that will always come up with those great ideas, but you don't know where these ideas even came from because they're so out of the box sometimes. They're so futuristic. They so think of the big picture that sometimes if you're not that kind of a thinker, many times you're not going to understand them. Aquariuses are brilliant. They're rebellious. They're about equal rights for everybody. Aquariuses are people that by their nature, they see much more the favor of society and the favor of the group they're in, and generally the favor of the collective rather than their own favor or the favor of the single private person. And you know, of course, you all hear when we talk about the concept of the age of Aquarius, right? And this is really the age we've entered now. So we're now in a month of Aquarius, but we're actually in the energy of the age of Aquarius. What does it mean? First of all, we need to understand that this is where we're all headed. We are all headed to the point that the benefit of the others need to bother us, or we need to care about it more than my own needs. But what is the story there, and what is the work of the Aquarius in this lifetime? So, you know, we talked also, I spoke a lot about it in the yearly forecast, so you can definitely get back and you will hear more about the age of Aquarius. But what is the work of the Aquarius? I'm going to tell you, Aquariuses are dreamers. They can sit and dream and idealize and think how reality should be in its perfected way. How can we have the world in the best way? How can we have even our personal relationships in the best way? Aquariuses are so into the concept and the idea and the ideal that many times when it comes to real intimacy, real intimate connections, they're not even capable of it, because what they see is the idea. So let's say there's a man that has an Aquarius, love interest. Sorry, the man is an Aquarius. The love interest is whatever side. And this person has an ideal of what he thinks his spouse needs to be like. how she or he, of course, no problem with that, should look, should behave, should do things, what kind of a house we should have, what kind of a picket fence we should have, right? The Aquarius will have such a big idea of what they want. And then let's say they like somebody, and that person looks to them like, this is my dream. This is the person of my dreams. That's it. It's exactly how I think somebody should look and behave and do. Now, what happens is that the Aquarius will fall in love with the concept, with the idea, with how they want it to be. But it's not the person. It's not who is in front of them. So they're so caught up with what it represents than really seeing who is in front of them. They're so big picture, even in the real world, like outside. They'll care about the world and what's happening in different countries and what's happening in the US. But ask them, what is the name of the neighbor? I mean, I don't know, right? What is the real work? And it's interesting. I mean, this year it's like kind of like really at the end of the Hebrew Aquarius month, but the idea of Valentine's being in the month of Aquarius, you know, in the sign, in the Gregorian, it is always Valentine's will be in the month of Aquarius, in the sign Aquarius, actually giving us a different understanding of love. Because the Aquarius, yes, the Aquarius can do a lot for the person that they love. But what is real love? What is real love? It's so interesting that we talk a lot about love, but in the month of Aquarius, we actually have an availability to connect to the deeper understanding of love. So the upside of Aquarius is, yeah, it's not only about me. It's not only about what I want, what I need, right? Aquariuses can do that. But wait, what is love? Is love an emotion? Is love what I feel? Oh, I feel, you know, what it makes me feel? Is love what I'm getting out of it? Well, that's chemistry. That's, you know, in love or falling in love. But real love is actually about intimacy, real discovery. You know, if you didn't read that book, The Art of Loving, I know I recommend it a lot, but read it. The Art of Loving by Erich Fromm. In my opinion, I know I love this book so much, and I really think he was divinely inspired when he wrote the book, because the way it explains it, it's so spiritual. He was a psychoanalyst, but his perspective was super spiritual. So what does he say there? Which for me, it's always like, you know, on another level understanding love. Love is not about falling in love with the concept of somebody and waiting for them to be what I think they should be, or how they should fulfill what my dreams or needs are. Love is looking at the person in front of me and constantly rediscovering who they are. And you know, one of the things he says is that when people don't understand that, when people think that love is about, oh, I'm so excited to meet this person, to know them, and then that energy comes from a place of reactive or emotional. So at the moment that people will be intimate, will have sex, or will live together, it goes away. But if I understand that the work of discovery is not a physical thing, We think that by being together with somebody physically, our sense of loneliness, I'm going to get into it, but you know what, I'll say it quickly now. Aquarius has to do with the energy of wanting to feel that you belong to something, to break the loneliness with the sense of belonging. And a lot of times Aquarius will join certain groups or because they want to feel they belong to something bigger. As humans, we want to feel that we belong to something, because somewhere inside we don't want to feel separation and detachment. So love a lot of times feels to us, how can I feel not alone? But to feel not alone is with the work of learning the person that is with me. And, you know, as we constantly learn about ourselves and constantly see who we are and understand, oh, wow, I didn't even realize that I'm like that, right? How many times when you're on a spiritual journey, you many times are in situations that you're like, oh, wow, I didn't see that. Wow, I'm really like that. That's so funny. That's why I love astrology so much, because astrology goes so deep and it digs so much into where you're coming from. What's your, and it's so detailed because it's in a constant place of teaching us about ourselves. If I constantly want to learn about myself, I'm never going to bore myself. And it's the same with relationships. If I'm in a relationship that I constantly try to understand my partner, understand that intimacy means to see who they are, what they need. Yeah, there are downsides too. What can make them happy? And again, this is a room to differentiate, because many times we want to make somebody happy because we want the validation. We want to be appreciated. We want to receive from it. But the pure way of doing it is literally to do it. I'm learning my partner, and my way to practice love is to give them what they need, not what I think they need. Right? So the whole idea of the interesting thing that Valentine's Day falls in that month. There's a side of it that teaches us, yes, love is really about not putting myself first. But the other side of it is that actually love is a verb, right? It's a discovery. It's a constant work of discovering the other person. And when you do that, you'll never be bored. You'll never look for something more interesting. Because think how much we don't understand ourselves, how much we have to learn. How much would it be to learn someone else? Okay. How do we know what they need? It's a very good question. The discovery can happen in all kinds of ways. The discovery, I know for me, a lot of it is communication, to ask. A lot of times, like when I tell my husband, I'm a Leo, so sometimes I can be I know what you meant. And he will tell me, if you want to know what I meant, ask me. Don't decide for me, right? Even though I'm right a lot of times, but the idea is to ask, to look, not to judge, not to focus on, is he providing my needs right now? Is he talking in the way I want to hear right now? Does he look the way I want right now? Does he say only what I want to hear? It's that the work is really to, as we do it with ourselves, to learn. Even listen, you can even understand your spouse astrologically. Where are they coming from? The important thing is that even though it's not easy not to judge, the work is opposite of judgment. The work is compassion. The work is the more I understand my spouse, my friend. It's not, by the way, it's not only about romantic relationships. It's about friendships. Aquarius is a sign that has to do with friendships. Aquariuses have very high values of friendships. If you have a friend that is an Aquarius, you can call them in the middle of the night. They're gonna come and help you. They look at friendship as one of the highest values. And it's right even with friends. How do I learn who my friend is instead of molding them to be what I want them to be? It's a very, very hard thing to do many times, because many times we're very locked at what we think is right, what we think we want, and relationships are about what we receive. So if we convert it, if we think about it like it's not about what I need, which is a perfect month to do that, then we really open ourselves up to know the other person. Okay, I see questions here, so let me see. Yeah, we're gonna do Pisces. Yeah, we'll do it every month, Dorit. Hi. Try to mold, right? Try to mold them is absolutely, it's gonna backfire. If we try to make somebody what we want, they're never gonna be happy, and eventually we're not gonna be happy because we didn't fall in love with what we wanted. We fell in love with that person. And again, love is a discovery. Let me see if there's any other questions. Hi, Houston. Hi, Manila. Hi, guys. Hi, Spain. España. Very nice, guys. It's so nice to see all of you. Hi. Hello, everybody. The other thing that we can tap into this month is the Aquarius ability to think outside of the box. Because, and again, Age of Aquarius is for that too, thinking out of the box. Because one of the things that Aquarius is very, very capable of doing is tap into ideas, thoughts, even concepts that are so beyond the physical realm that sometimes when you talk to an Aquarius, I have a friend that whenever his wife used to come and say something, that she's an Aquarius, whenever she would come and say something, he would say, news flash from the future. Let's hear what you have to say. Because sometimes we would look and say, what? But really, the Aquarius month is actually giving us an ability to break the mold, to break our comfort zone, to break the comfort zone of our thoughts. Now, it's interesting because if you know an Aquarius, many times they can actually be very locked on certain things they think need to be that way, right? It's a paradox with that sign, because the inner energy of Aquarius is the energy that is fixed energy or fire energy. Fire is desire, but fire is also stubbornness and judgment. Okay, now we have an opportunity this month to open up to ideas and thoughts that look to us like, what are you talking about? Like, no, it doesn't make any sense to me. Now, why are the Aquariuses stubborn? Because air signs, air signs are Aquarius and Gemini and Libra. So air signs are thinkers. And when the Aquarius has the inner energy of fire, the way they think, it's like when they have a thought or an idea, the fire creates fixation on that idea. Now, even though they can think out of the box, they can be very, no, it has to be my way. Now, I'll tell you where it's coming from. First of all, when Aquarius has come to this life, by the way, Aquarius is a sign that even their childhood is never ordinary. It's never ordinary. There's always something, either separations, detachments, moving, emotional detachments. Aquarius usually deal with a lot of things like that because they come to this life to think bigger. So a lot of times from the get-go of their lives, they're taught it's not about your personal life. Think big. Okay, that's like in parentheses. By the way, that's why emotional intimacy is harder for them because they had detachments. So those detachments made them feel, listen, if I get too attached to somebody, they can leave. I can't let myself get too attached. Again, it can be emotional detachment. Many times it's physical too, right? So what is the thing of the Aquarius need to, it's my way, I think this way, that's the only way to, it actually comes from an opposite place. Aquarius is the opposite sign of Leo. You know, every sign has the opposite sign. And the opposite energy of Leo is very desire. It's what I want. I'm clear about what I want. Right? The Aquarius is like, I mean, I don't even know what I want. So what happens, Aquarius is from a very young age understand that I don't know what I want, but what I know is that I need to find what I want. So if I let anybody control what I want or control me, I'm never going to find what I want. So let me rebel. Let me rebel. If somebody tells me what to do, I'm going to do opposite. If somebody wants to put ideas in my mind that it's not what I think, no, I'm going to block them. Why? Because I need to find who I am. I need to find my originality. That's why Aquarius many times will dress in a different way, right? They want to be different. But that's also a thing. Think about it. If I tell you do it and you say, no, I'm not going to do it just because you told me. Is it a desire? Okay, I know what you don't want, but what do you want? The rebellious side or that leads eventually to that stubbornness is somewhere to protect my identity, my originality, my understandings of what I am. But really, if I know what I am, I'm not afraid to hear different things. I'm not afraid to receive other opinions because I know my opinion and I know that it's okay to be flexible because we can learn from any person. That's the source. That's the source of the issue of the Aquarius. And by the way, even if you have a rising Aquarius, moon in Aquarius, past life Aquarius, you will see those parts in you. You will see, even if you have just a lot of energy of Aquarius in your chart, a lot of energy in the house of Aquarius in the chart. Differentiate between desire that is really a desire, then no, I'm not doing that. Don't tell me what to do. And that's why people that are Aquarius a lot of times are very much about their freedom orientation. Freedom, they don't want a lot of times to just get themselves in a relationship that will get them stuck, forever. But it's really because of their need to understand their desire. So what is the desire? For the Aquarius, well, it's never about the personal life. Because the Aquarius did come to change the world, to bring different thoughts, to bring news from the future, to bring different perspectives, different ideas. Aquarius can sit and tell you brilliant ideas and you will be like, wow, you should go into politics. You're amazing. No, it's just ideas. The work of the Aquarius is you have great ideas, create them, make them happen. Just to think them, I mean, it's nice, but it's not your job. And in this month, we have an opportunity to create our ideas, our brilliant ideas, our out-of-the-box ideas. This is the month for that. I'm just reading if anybody's writing any question. How do we know? Okay, that I saw already. If things don't resonate truthfully to me, I definitely don't listen to it. Yeah, I mean, listen, of course, nobody, like when we're open to ideas, it doesn't mean that we need to change based on what the other person said. To be open, it's to be able to know that if I open my mind, nothing is going to shatter. It's like one time, it was years ago, so maybe today it will sound funny, but somebody, a guy was wearing a pink, it wasn't so common, and I told him, oh, I love your pink shirt, and he said, I know people tell me that it's weird, but I'm so confident in my masculinity that I have no problem wearing a pink shirt. Why? What's the thing? The thing is that when I'm confident of who I am, when I know my essence, can somebody really shatter me? On the contrary, it's just gonna add to me. It's gonna give me more perspectives. So of course, not to all of a sudden lose myself, but to be open to the fact that, yeah, I know who I am. And this is really the work of the Aquarius, is to understand myself, to understand who I am, to understand my desires, to understand. Aquariuses are not necessarily people that say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, because it's not a sign necessarily that is connected to that level of passion. But it's definitely a sign that when they connect themselves to a higher purpose, they can change the world. And some of the biggest people of this earth were Aquariuses, because they were able to bring their idea and their ideal into reality and not let the reality tamper with it. Yeah, life happens, it just picked me, I couldn't do. No. The work of the Aquarius is, what do I want? And how do I create it? Okay? I want to give you a few points of what's happening this month. Also, besides the Aquarius energy, we have a lot of square energy. We're going to have Jupiter. I didn't want to forget. I wrote everything. Jupiter square Uranus, Mars square. I'm going to do short videos on that as the month goes. But I just want you to know, on the 21st of the month, we're going to have Mars that is going to conjunct Uranus in Taurus. And generally, there is a lot of Uranus-Mars squares. It's an energy of aggression. And I don't know if you saw the video I did about the chart of the US, but I did it like before the year started, but I think it was in November. The energy of the US right now is under a lot of Mars energy, and Mars has to do with war. I mean, we don't want that, of course, but because of that, there's also a lot of things that are happening. We're also in the Pluto return of the US. Whoever is from the United States feels it very much, and it's not in the complete alignment yet. We have 2 more years that, it's going to intensify, but because the month of Aquarius has to do with peace, with bringing the big picture, with caring for the world, even though we have a lot of the square energy is energy of challenge. Not easy. It's not an easy energy that is approaching, and in the continuation of the year, it's going to be a little better, but still in the month of January, we're dealing still with a lot of those intense. Uranus and Mars is Uranus is explosions, Mars is anger. In Taurus, it's stubbornness, it's desire to keep things the way I want. That's what we need to work on. As a person, as people on our own, to understand that I can have my own desires and perspectives and beliefs and whatever I think is right, it's okay. But whatever the other person thinks it's right is also okay. Like the thing I love to quote, that rabbi, that I don't remember who it was, I just remember that brilliant quote. He said, if we were able to accept the fact that other people have different faces than ours, we're not going to, oh, why don't you look like me? So the fact that they have different opinions than ours, this world would have been a great place. Okay, this person has a different opinion, so what? It's a time that we need to accept that, and the energy of peace is related to that. And it's a month that, by the way, Mars, Uranus also has to do with more aggressive energy, even accidents, and even just no rage, no road rage, please. Really, let's be extra cautious with that energy. I don't like to scare. We need to pay attention, not to let ourselves get angry, not to let ourselves, my way or the highway. This is not a month for that, okay? And I do want to say that January 30th, Mercury, I'm going to do a video on that, but Mercury is going to go retrograde. And when Mercury retrogrades, it's always a good time. It's always a good thing to know when it goes retrograde, because until then, we're in a very energetically, the month of Aquarius is a good month to start things. Generally, the first 2 weeks after the new moon, generally there are months that are a little more rough, but most of the month, the first 2 weeks of the new moon, after the new moon, are good times to do new things, to start new things. When Mercury goes into retrograde on the 30th, listen, if you have to, you do that, but it's really not a time to sign contracts. You know the drill, and to watch extra everything communication, and don't buy a cell phone after January 30th and on until Mercury goes out of retrograde. So just pay attention. If there's certain contracts or things that you want to sign before, do it before the 30th. Yeah, exactly. Now, anything aggression is not good. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here, for listening. Have a beautiful month full of miracles and full of brilliant ideas that are going to be manifested. Chodesh Tov.